वृन्दावनचन्द्रम् आनन्दकन्दं परमानन्दं धरणिधरम्।
सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावदितमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। Hari Om. Yesterday we had seen the role of Sri Krishna in this Mahabharat. And his role in Mahabharat is very different to everyone else's role. Sri Krishna's avatar incarnation is that of Ishvara. So, Sri Krishna has come as Ishvara. Ishvara means God. He is not coming as a jiva to play the role of a human being. Krishna did not come to play the role of a human being. He came to play the role of the Lord himself. As such, so many miraculous feats were there, so many extraordinary, phenomenal achievements were there. And his life cannot be compared, and his decisions and actions cannot be compared to those of ours. It is said, you should follow the life of Sri Ram, but you follow the teachings of Sri Krishna. Teachings of Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. But the life of Sri Krishna we cannot follow, we cannot emulate. Because it is the life of Ishvara. And what is the Dharma of Ishvara? What is the job of Ishvara? What is his role and responsibility when he comes down on earth? Yesterday we saw his first job is Dharma Samstapaka. One who has to uplift and restore the Dharma. And that we have taken yesterday. The second role or job that Ishvara has is called Karma Phala Data. Data means giver. Phala means result. And karma means action. One who gives the results of your actions. Who is doing the actions? The one that is doing the actions is you and I, the individual. It is called Jiva in Sanskrit. Jiva. So Jiva is the one that does the karmas. And when Jiva does karma, then that karma itself must have a result. It must have a phala. In Sanskrit, it's called phala. So every action we do, there will be a result for every action. Now, what's important is that the result that a particular jiva does, so the action a particular jiva does, that jiva must get that result, not the result of somebody else. They must get their particular result, and that result should not go to another jiva. It is like this. In school, everyone has to sit for the examination. And sometimes they don't give you, in university, they don't take your name. Sometimes they just give you a number, student number. So you're not a name, you're a number. Now when you do it, everyone who's sat, now in a month's time, the results will be given out. Now who should get which result? The one who sat that paper, he must get that result. My result should not go to someone else. Unless it's a very lousy result, then we can give to someone else. And I should not get someone else's result unless he's an A+ student. Then I'm very happy to take his result. But the system doesn't work. The system can only work if the one who does the karma is the one who receives that phala. Who is in charge of this big task of coordinating which phala goes to which jiva? Who is in charge of this? Ishvara is in charge. Jiva cannot be in charge. The job is too big. The level of knowledge required is too extensive that the individual, you and I, we don't have that level of knowledge. Ishvara alone, who is all-knowing. He's the only one who has, one, the knowledge of which jiva has done which karma. And then he has the Shakti, power, to ensure that this jiva will get this result. So you must be all-knowing and all-powerful. And the only being that is all-knowing and all-powerful is Ishvara. Jiva doesn't have that. Thus the second job of Ishvara is karma, phala, data. Very important to note this, because you will see Shri Krishna plays this role perfectly. This is one of the roles that he plays in Mahabharat and in Bhagavatam. That actually his job is to see that for each devotee, each jiva in front of him, he has to see, is it ready? Is their time ready for them to receive their phala? And if it is their time to receive that phala, I have to make sure it takes place. Now, one thing to understand about karma and phala, karma is not just, karma means action. Karma is not just talking about things that are happening at a physical level. Because many times when we say action, we think physical only. Karma is talking about movement and activity also at the level of your emotions. Karma is talking about activity at the level of thoughts, intentions. It's also referring to speech. Whatever words you say, that's also karma. Whatever emotion you have when you speak those words, that's a karma. Whatever intention you have, that's a karma. And beyond this, we have a subconscious mind which is giving off a certain fragrance or nature. That nature that we have, that's also karma. All these things are karmas. And that's why sometimes we sit there and we say, I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. Why am I being punished for this? But we know, even if you enter this hall and you're looking for a chair to sit down and you see a nice chair, how good there. Then you go, and as you walk, you have to look to the next person who's sitting next to you. That person next to you is giving you a dirty look. Now, no words are said, no action is done. But there's a result, no? You feel something. And you say, okay, I'll go to the next row. Especially when you have to cross over that person's leg to get to that chair, no? You have to look at that person and see if they're willing to push their knees up, push their legs to the side. And if you don't feel that they're willing to do that, you just go sit in another part of the hall. And if no one in the hall is willing to do that, you go sit in another hall. Huh? Now you see, the person sitting has not done what we would say any karma. That person would say, I didn't do anything to offend that person. Why that person has left and gone away? I didn't say anything offensive, isn't it? Because at the physical level, nothing done. At the verbal level, nothing done. But at the emotional level and intellectual level, very powerful karmas were taking place. Very intense karmas were taking place. My intellect was saying, don't even think about it. And my mind was saying, there's no chance of me moving my legs. I was here first. This is the vibration that is coming and emanating out of us. And we all know this. In fact, it is said, they say up to 70% of our communication is non-verbal, which means 70% of our karmas are happening here. But it's very easy for us to claim, I didn't do anything. Because when we think doing, we are thinking at a physical level. No. In karma siddhant, law of karma, everything is taken into account. Physical, verbal, emotional, intellectual, and also your prakriti nature. Your nature. All these 5 factors constitute your karma. We don't even know what karmas we are doing, isn't it? Sometimes our face is just like that. It's a thoroughly uninspired face. This happens in teenage years, especially for the boys. I can say because I also went through it. I'm not having a go at teenage boys. That whenever there's talk of getting shopping from the car, whenever there's talk of cleaning your room, whenever there's talk of actually moving from the couch, and that mother is sitting there and saying, what happened to that young, bubbly little child that I had that used to be so happy and used to rotate around me like the moon to the earth. It was orbiting me for so many years. And now, it's on the couch and said, don't come near me. But it's not speaking. The child is not speaking, but the vibration is very powerful. For the mother, for the father, say, I just go to another room. There's no point. Don't get involved in this. This discussion, don't get involved. It's between you and your mother. You can discuss it. There's no discussion going on. But that vibration is very powerful. We've all experienced this. There are karmas going on. This is why sometimes we wonder when we go for job interviews, when we go for different examinations, or we meet people, we wonder why we are not able to create any connection and rapport. I said all the right things. I answered all the questions properly. I've even got better qualifications, but I didn't get the job. Because part of that interviewer is looking for this non-verbal component. It's looking for your nature. It's looking for your intent. It's looking at your interest. And it's gauging you according to all of this. All of these are karmas. These karmas are so subtle that the jiva himself doesn't even know he's doing them. Now, when we don't know what we're even doing, then how are we going to decide and determine the phala? We are not capable. Ishvara alone becomes capable because he is Sarvajnaha. So he will know everything that is done. Okay? So even when we read, now when we look at portions of this Mahabharat, we are only sometimes able to understand the action the person did. Even that, sometimes only the action is narrated. And then when we read it, we'll say, oh, the consequence for that person was so severe. They did something so innocent, but the consequence was so severe. Why was the consequence so severe? It seems as if it was disproportionate. But until you understand their attitude, until you understand their intention, we will not fully understand why this person had to deal with this phala. This is always going to be the limitation of the jiva. Yeah? Therefore, it is up to Ishvara to give that phala. Now, one thing to understand, Ishvara gives the phala, but Ishvara does not decide or create the phala. The phala result is decided and created by the jiva, you and I. We are deciding and determining the phala. Ishvara's job is just to deliver. We are placing the order. He is the messenger. He's delivery service. But we place the order. And if we don't pay enough attention to the order that we're placing, he just says, look, I'm delivering. This is what was said. I give it to you. This is not what I wanted. But you ticked. Now people buy things online. We buy things online. When you buy things online, especially if you buy clothes and all that, you actually don't know what color it is exactly, because what they show is very different to what comes. So they say red, and you don't know that red has got a whole spectrum. There's a whole spectrum of red. There's a thing called magenta, there's a thing called crimson, there's a thing called cyan, there's a thing called maroon. Some people, red is red only. So I clicked on red jumper and it came. But it came a very different color. Doesn't match anything. Now when the delivery man comes and gives it to you, can you blame the delivery man? This is not what I want. Throw it back in his face. You wear it. I'm not wearing it. Matches your outfit, not mine. You can't do that. You can't blame him and say, oh, the delivery man has cursed me. But this is what we do in life. Ishvara just delivers the phala. And when the phala is not exactly what I want, then we say, Ishvara is cursing me only. That God is cursing me. And you know what? I actually don't believe in God. Now, if you don't believe in God, how is God cursing you? This is another wonderful thing that we also come up with. As karma phala data means giver. Karta means creator. Jiva is karta. Jiva is the creator. Ishvara just delivers. And his delivery system is meticulous. One, he has to ensure the right result goes to the right agent. That's one thing. The second thing he has to do, he has to ensure that the result comes at a particular time. Because there can be a gap between action and result. Not every action we do is going to have immediate result. Some of them require time to mature. When we plant a seed in the garden, you can't plant it today and then tomorrow get your oranges coming off your tree. You have to wait. There's a period of time you have to wait for that seed to settle, for it to germinate, for it to put its roots down, for the trunk to grow branches, then the fruit comes out. There is a latent period of time you have to wait. And each tree will have a different period of time of how long they take. Some could take years to grow. And some will grow very quickly. In the same way, our karmas also, some karmas fructify immediately. Other karmas take a long period of time to fructify. In fact, sometimes not even in this janma. They may come in the next janma. They tell me that in this, in Australia, one of the native trees is gum tree. And in these gum trees, they have these hollows that are developed. And these birds go and live in these hollows. Now, to plant a gum tree and grow it, that doesn't take that long. Even that can take a long time. But it said for these hollows to develop, this hollow can take 20 years. So when you cut down the tree and you plant another one, the tree may grow and it may be visible, but it doesn't mature for a long period of time. And only when that hollow is there, then a bird can come and live. So when you cut that tree down, that bird now, its generation is gone. It has to wait 20 years for that same hollow to develop in that tree because it takes that long to develop. But the tree may be sitting in front of you and you say, it's there, why can't the bird go sit in it? The bird is waiting for that particular environment to be created. A very specific environment must be created for that jiva now to enjoy that result. Ishvara has to do this. Ishvara has to see that a very particular environment is created for the jiva now to get that result. And if the environment is not there, the jiva will not get that result. It's not ready, not matured. It takes time. Ishvara is the only one that knows this. We don't know how long that maturation process is going to be. We know even in relationships, some people you just hit it off immediately, and other people it takes a long time to develop a rapport. But you can develop very strong rapport and friendship with them. But when you look back in your life, sometimes you say, how did you people come to know each other? Actually, I know a husband and wife. They're a very nice story, actually, how they met. Because they're a little bit, when I met them, I felt they were a bit mismatched. And I said, how did you end up with this chap? Huh? And she said, yeah, initially when I met him, I did not like him at all. I had no interest at all. They would go to social events, he would be there. He liked her. He kept talking and talking. And she said he was thoroughly annoying. And she would do anything to avoid him. And for many years, she avoided him. But this man, I give him great credit. He is the definition of persistence. He had great dhriti, fortitude. Stop not until your goal is reached. So he kept pursuing. And then I said, but you didn't like him. How did it happen that you come to like him? She said, he grew on me. And when she said that, this image of cheese with mold growing on top of it came to my head. I don't know why that image came to my head, because generally we say, it's growing mold now. When you open the fridge and this thing's got mold, it grew on it. That was the only thing I knew about growing at that time. So when she said it grew on her, I was thinking, oh, like leave the cheese out. Extra things, bacteria grows. I understand now. Now a wonderful couple, I know them, I still know that they're married now 15 years. Wonderful couple. But interesting how their relationship started and how long it took for it to mature. And some people, immediately. They didn't even meet the person. Saw one picture and said, yeah, I like this chap. Not married, finished. You tell this story to many of the youth nowadays, they have a heart attack only. How did you get married? Photo. And there was no internet. It was just one photo was sent in the mail. As you open the photo, this doesn't belong to our family. Yeah, this is, but he can, if you want, he can belong to our family. Do you want him or not? Okay. You put the 3 photos in front of you and say, which one? Middle one, done, finished, married. Some people have a heart attack when they hear such a story like that. So sometimes it happens immediately. Sometimes it takes long period of time. How long it takes for karma to fructify and give phala, that is not in the hands of Jiva. It is in the hands of Ishvara. Ishvara has to create an environment which is conducive for the Jiva now to receive the phala. This is the job of Ishvara. This is what Sri Krishna is doing in Mahabharat. This is what he's doing in Mahabharat. Okay? So you will hear and see him say certain things to certain people. And you will think, why did he say that? And of course, the famous incident which people have queries over is, of course, on the 17th day of the war, when Karna is the general of Kaurava Sainya, the army. Then there's a period of time where Karna is fighting with Arjuna. Very intense. And what happens is Karna's wheel becomes caught in a ditch. And his chariot cannot move. And he just cannot move at all. He comes down from the chariot in order to lift it out of the ditch and take it. And while he's down, then actually he is not supposed to be shot at. So Arjuna hesitates at this time. But Sri Krishna tells him, now shoot. Now shoot. Kill him. Release your weapon and shoot. Arjuna hesitates because he says, according to the laws of battle, then we should not shoot someone who is come off their chariot. Charioteer is supposed to shoot charioteer. One on a chariot. Ratha. He hesitated, but Krishna said, no, shoot him now. Arjuna then follows Krishna's advice. At that time, Karna looks. And he even proclaims, how can you now attack me? This is not in line with Dharma. Krishna then answers and says, you broke Dharma your whole life. And now you sit there and talk Dharma. Karna is actively involved in all the plots to kill the Pandavas. Actively involved. He is not a passive bystander. He is in fact one of the strongest aggressors towards the destruction of the Pandavas. Every plot, poisoning of Bhima, house of lac, the burning them up in the house of lac, disrobing Draupadi directly was Karna's instruction. Going to kill the Pandavas after they were exiled in the forest, Karna's idea. Later on, trying to embarrass them while they're in exile, living as hermits, Karna's idea. All this were Karna's ideas, and Krishna pulls up the whole list. He says, your whole life you've been following adharma, and now you call dharma? He said, this is very inconsistent. This is not what can be done. So, Karna then tries to recall a mantra which will invoke a very powerful weapon, Brahmastra. This weapon will be able to neutralize Arjuna. But at that time, that mantra doesn't come to his head. His mind is completely agitated and the mantra doesn't at all come. So now standing there, sitting there, kneeling, helpless, staring at the enemy, Krishna then says, now vanquish him. And Arjuna shoots, and this is how Karna is killed. Now when you hear this, our sympathy goes to poor Karna. He was killed while trying to fix his chariot. Now Krishna already said, actually, you have committed so many atrocities. To sit there and preach dharma at this time is major hypocrisy. You're being a hypocrite. But actually, this is not even the reason why Karna dies. Karna dies because both these events, one, his chariot falling in a ditch, and two, forgetting the mantra, both of these are phalas, results of earlier actions that he has committed. And these are well documented in the Mahabharata. In fact, Karna's life is very well documented because many people keep retelling his life on multiple occasions. So after Karna had sort of graduated from studying with Dronacharya, Arjuna, we knew, was given Brahmastra. Karna hears about this and being very angered and even feeling jealousy and insecurity, he then goes to Drona and says, "You also teach me Brahmastra." And he says, "I want to know it so I can fight with Arjuna." He doesn't say for protection of society. He says, "I want to know this so I can fight and kill Arjuna." And Drona says, "Your heart is duratma. It's a bad heart. Your intention is not correct." You see, his intention played a part. He was physically skilled, but his intention, doing the wrong intention. His was in order to pursue vengeance. Drona says, "No, I cannot teach you this. Because a person who has such impurity of heart, this particular Brahmastra missile, you can release, but you cannot recall. Which means you don't know how to neutralize it once you have sent it out. Only a person of purity can shoot and also recall the missile. Which means if it's shot accidentally, you must know how to neutralize it. Even now when they shoot warheads, they have an abort code. You can't just shoot the missile. There should also be an abort code that if you realize target is the wrong target or circumstances have changes, put the abort code, missile becomes dead. This was part of learning about the Brahmastra. And he said only a person with purity of heart can recall this Brahmastra. And you don't have it, Drona, therefore I cannot give it to you. Drona is very upset with this. So he leaves. Karna is upset with this. He leaves Drona. And he goes in pursuit of someone else that can teach him. There's one other person that is also highly skilled and knowledgeable in weapons, and that is Parashuram. Parashuram is a great teacher, and actually he's the teacher of Drona. He only teaches Drona all military warfare. He goes to Parashuram. Parashuram has a condition, and his condition is, I will only accept Brahmanas, not Kshatriyas. That was his condition when he taught. Karna is a Kshatriya, a form of Kshatriya. But when he goes to study from Parashuram, Parashuram asks him, "What is your background?" And he lies at that time. And he says, "I am Brahmana." He says, "I'm Bhrugu Gotra." And he lies about that. Parashuram doesn't note that or pick that up at that time, and he starts teaching him. During this period of time, he is learning tremendous amount of knowledge and vidya and gaining so much power, strength and knowledge. He is living in the forest, Mahendra mountains it is, with Parashuram and studying. And say one day while he was studying with Parashuram, he was just kind of inadvertently not paying attention. He was just shooting off his bow and arrow. Like a person who has a gun, learn how to shoot a gun, start shooting the gun. Just shooting things randomly. And with one of his arrows that he shoots, he kills a very sacred animal, a sacred cow. A cow that is used for homa. Such cows are not just ordinary cows. Special cow must be taken and then consecrated, and then that cow only is used for the homam, to produce the milk. He shoots one of these cows and he kills it. The owner of the cow is a Brahmana tapasvi. That means he's got great power of mind. And at that time, he curses him. And he said, "Karna, for this action you've done, you have killed a defenseless animal that was just sitting there. And a cow is the most harmless creature there is. See, nearly any other creature, it can move fast and sometimes knock you over. Cow can't even move fast. It's got no teeth to bite you. And the female cat doesn't even have the horns also to sit there and knock you. It's the most defenseless creature there is. And you went and killed that. The cow, we also know, is the embodiment of Dharma, that which sacrifices and gives. You went and killed this cow. And at that time, that Brahmana owner curses him. And he says, Durachara vadahastvam phalam prapnuhi durmate bhumis chakram grasishyati. He says, for this action you have done, the phala will be your death only. You will also die in the same way. When you are defenseless, you will die. And how will it come? Bhumi chakram grasishyati. Bhumi means earth. The earth will swallow up the wheel of your chariot when you are engaged in battle with your sworn enemy. The one that you call your sworn enemy, Arjuna, when you are in battle with him, the earth will swallow up your chariot, and at that time, being defenseless, you will be killed. That curse was put on him. He's quite depressed by this, obviously, but continues on his studies with Parashuram. During the period of study with Parashuram, another incident takes place where Parashuram, tired, says, I want to take rest. They're going on a walk, yatra. He's done fasting, he's tired, he wants to take rest. So he lies down. Karna says, use my thigh as your pillow. So, Guru lies down, Shishya then sits, and the Guru now puts his head in his lap. So he doesn't have to put his head on the hard ground. While this happens, one worm, and it's like a carnivorous worm, it can eat through flesh. Flesh-eating worm enters onto the thigh and starts burrowing into his thigh. Karna's thinking now, what to do? If I sit there and attack this worm or brush it off, I will disturb the Guru. So he says, no, I will leave it. The worm is burrowing in, and Karna is able to bear the pain of this. Finally, the blood that comes out drips onto the head of the Guru, and the Guru wakes up. Parshuram wakes up. Says, wow, what happened? Seeing that worm, he just looks at it and he burns it. It dies. Parshuram then says, you cannot be a person of sattvic brahmanical temperament. Why? Because such a person would not have such willpower of their body. Such physical power they won't have. You must be a Kshatriya. And from this he deciphers, you are warrior. You are not Brahmana. Then he says, then he asks him, is this true? Karna finally admits that actually he doesn't belong to Bhrigu Gotra, and that actually he is Sutaputra. Having heard this, he then says, Karna, now, this knowledge I have given you, at the time of need, it will fail you. You will not recall this mantras when you need it, because you have learned through deception. You have learned through deception. Yasmad mityo pacharito hyastra lobhat ihatvaya tasmad etannatan te muda brahmastram pratibhasyati. Mityachara. You have done this under deception. Mityachara means false conduct. Under deception you have done this. And lobhena. You have done it out of greed. You wanted these astras so you can go fight and kill Arjuna. It was personal vengeance. Now you see, the Guru has deciphered his intention. So now he is going to receive the reward of not just an innocent action at a physical level, but actually his whole intention of studying under Parashuram was for greed of weapons. He was using it for the sake of vengeance. He had no purity. It was not to protect society. It was not to help better the cause of the nation. It was purely to destroy Arjuna. Astra lobat. Lobat we know is greed. Astra means with weapons. For greed of weapons you have engaged me. With mityachara and deceived. Now, this Brahmastra you will forget. These two curses are given to Karna. After this incident, he goes back to Duryodhana. And Duryodhana said, did you learn all these things? He said, yes, but he never mentions this. He never talks about these two things that have happened. Now, in the Mahabharata itself, when it comes to the time of his death, the verses there are very clear. They're extremely clear. It says, before Krishna now starts telling Arjuna to kill him, this is the verse that's given. Kalo hiyadrishyo nrupa viprakopat nidarshayan karna vadam bruvanaha bhumistu chakram grasati tyavochata karnasya tasmin vadakala agate. At the time of Karna's death, which is now coming, Vadakala, the time of his death is now approaching. What happens? It says Kala starts speaking to him. Kala means time. An invisible voice now starts entering into his ears. This is while he's on the chariot. He's on the chariot and he's engaged in battle with Arjuna. Adrishya. Adrishya means unseen, invisible. Kalaha starts talking to him. And it says, now Karna, the time of your death is coming. Why? Do you remember the Viprakopa? Viprakopa, the anger from that Brahmana, the curse from that Brahmana now is coming. It is time for it to mature. Bhumistu chakram grasati. And now the earth is going to swallow up your wheel. And through this, you will become defenseless and you will be killed. This verse is there. Now, when you connect all these dots, you will see that Karna's death is a pure result of his own actions. We may sit there and say, why such a severe result for such a simple action? But that's where we must understand action is not just at a physical level. Innocently shooting an animal, why should that cause any problems? This is called inadvertence. In our Shastra, it is said inadvertence is the equivalent of death. Pramado vai mrityuhu. Pramada means inadvertence. It says being inadvertent, careless, not paying attention. It says this is death. How much attention are we paying to the thoughts, emotions, words that we speak? We are sometimes barely aware of the actions we do. We forget where we put our keys. Where's the phone? They'll make all the announcements, turn the phone off, but invariably someone's phone will be on. Now, turn the phone off is a physical act. We are not talking to you to intellectually attune and mentally attune. Turn your phone off. Use your finger to turn the phone off. Physical action. But it always goes off in the lecture, no? I'm sure it'll happen. We've got a bit of time still to go. Now, physical action itself we are not aware of. What to talk of what we speak? How many of us can recall a conversation verbatim? Verbatim means word for word. We know we get upset with someone, we get emotional about something, and then we speak. And then when you're asked, then they go and complain to a third party. I can't believe this person said this to me. And then you ask them, what did you say to them? You know. No, I don't know. That's why if I knew, I would not be asking. I have no idea what you said. You know me, now. You know I don't speak like that. I have no idea how you speak at that point in time. Our words our own speech, word to word, we can't recall. Now, can you remember the mood at which you spoke or interacted with that person? What mood did you have? Were you inspired? Were you positive? Were you optimistic? Or was it generally negative, pessimistic? Huh? So your child says, I want to take up this sport. Okay. Now, okay means okay, we permit. But that mood, okay. It means what? Try, but I don't think you're going to succeed. That's how the child is registering that. You're okay, we try, but I think it'll go the way of all your previous endeavors as well. They don't work. Oh, Appa doesn't believe in me. My father doesn't believe I can do it. No, he said okay. Huh? Mood. Can we recall the mood that we have? And our intention, is sometimes very hard to decipher. Because many times we like to think that we are very noble, like we are doing it for others. We like to think that. But sometimes when you start hunting and hunting and hunting behind our intentions, we find actually we are doing it for ourselves. So we feel we are serving others, but sometimes our service to others is actually a contract so that they remain obliged to us. These are very subtle things that go on. So that later on when that person leaves, you can turn around and say, look at all the things I've done for you. Then you can't say it was service. You can't say it was service. You can't say you sacrificed for that person. Because if you sacrifice for a person, you can't turn around and throw it in their face later on. You say, look at all the things, I got a whole list actually. How did you keep this list? 25 years I've been collecting. Now I'm just presenting to, actually I had the book bound as well. Yeah. Now I hand it to you on your 25th birthday. Oh, thank you very much. So, at so many levels, we are engaging in karma. Therefore, the phala has to come. Karna's death is purely a result of his own actions. Krishna is just the one who is delivering it. That's why when we read Krishna's words, you must not read Krishna's actions and words from the standpoint of a jiva. He's coming from the standpoint of Ishvara. And Ishvara is saying, now it is time for this jiva to receive his phala. Result has to come towards this individual. If you read Mahabharat with this vision, you will see that Krishna actually is never really actively involved in causing the problems. He's only facilitating that a result has to go to a doer. The one who did the action has to get the result. It's the same thing with Duryodhana. Duryodhana's death is very similar. Duryodhana also is hit below the thigh when he engages in the mace combat with Bhim. And to hit below the thigh is also considered to be beyond Dharma. Again, the same question comes up. Duryodhana pleads. Same thing. Krishna says, you have broken every Dharma is. Don't be a hypocrite now. Krishna doesn't instruct Bhima, but he tells Arjuna. Arjuna asks, who will win this conduct? And Krishna says, Bhima is stronger, but Duryodhana has got more skill. Because of the 13 years of exile, Bhima has not been in combat practice. He said Duryodhana actually has got more skill. And with that skill, he will beat Bhim. Therefore, he tells Arjuna only if he hits him in the thigh. Arjuna then tells Bhima, hit him in the thigh. And he does that. But this broken, shattered thigh was already prophesied much earlier twice in the Mahabharata. At the time of the dice game, Duryodhana, in order to insult Draupadi, exposes his thigh and slaps it in front of Draupadi to insult her. At that time, Bhima takes a vow and says, I will crush this thigh. I will break it with my mace. How dare you insult a lady here? after the exile as well, when they are sent off, one rishi called Maitreya Rishi comes with Vyasa and he visits Hastinapur and says, what happened? You sent the Pandavas off into exile. This is a great tragedy. What have you done? And he says, reverse this whole thing. Ask them to come back. Stop this. And at the same time, Duryodhana does the same thing to that Maitreya Rishi. Insults him by slapping his thigh. He seemed to have this habit of doing this. That Maitreya Rishi says, Bhima's curse will come true. Your thigh will be crushed. And that's how you will die. Both these things are given much earlier in the book. And then the time of his death, Krishna then just facilitates this. And Krishna says, these are all results of your own actions. Krishna says that. He says, Duryodhana, this is the result of your own action. You are reaping what you only have sown. I am not telling anything different in that way. So you understand now, what is Ishvara's role? Ishvara's role in our life is that a karma phala data. We are the ones creating the karmas, actions. We decide, we determine, we choose what intention, we choose what attitude, we choose what words, and we have the power to choose what actions we want to do. But understand, once you have chosen and executed, then the result will come accordingly. It will come accordingly in life. What this means for us as jivas, that what I am facing or meeting today, whatever challenges I meet today, they might be challenges in relationships, challenges in profession, challenges with my health, whatever challenges that I am meeting today, we must understand those challenges of today, difficulties of today, calamities of today, sorrows of today, are actually results of actions I have done in the past. I am not an innocent bystander upon which life is trying to crush and punish me. I am not someone who has not been involved and helplessly, hopelessly innocent watching, and all of a sudden this has descended upon me. No, not at all. Whatever I am the recipient of, it is because at some point in time I have done something which has planted a seed, and now the seed is growing and fructifying. It has matured. If we take this attitude to life, all of a sudden you can change the whole way you live. The attitude that I am innocent and why all this is happening to me, it breeds the thought, why me? That's how it comes. The thought that comes, why is this happening to me? It doesn't seem to be happening to anyone else. I am the only one suffering. I am the only one going through discomfort, pain, discord. Everyone else is having a wonderful time. We always have this feeling. This thought that why me, it is born of a notion I am innocent. I had nothing to do with this. And it descended upon me. And when we look back at our actions, and say, I can't see anything that I did that was terrible. And it might be true. But then did you look back at the words you said? Did you look at the emotion that you had? Did you look back at the intention you had at that time? That when that person was speaking to you and sharing something so deep and meaningful, did you even make eye contact with them? Or were you looking at a phone? Did you engage them wholeheartedly or brush them off inadvertently? And that inadvertent brush could have created a whole lot of ill will disappointment and distress in the mind of that listener. And now that distress and disappointment now is only coming back. Years later it can happen. Years later. We all know as children, sometimes when we remember, it's only small incidents and a few incidents sometimes that we feel, oh, that incident really affected and shaped my life. But we have to look into actually what nature we were. What karma we were doing. And the karmas that we were doing, and sometimes very hard to figure them out. Because it's so hard to recall the karmas that we have done, then it's better that we start understanding the need to accept what is in front of us. Break out of the mentality that I am a victim. Why is this happening to me? Either research your past and find out the cause of it. And if you can't do that, then accept what's in front of you. But if you continue on with the notion that I'm an innocent victim, you feel very hopeless and very helpless in this situation. You feel that life is crushing you and it has got a better control of you than you of yourself. We stop failing to exercise control over things we can. And we become extremely passive and weak. We allow others, we allow the whole world to rule, to push, to dominate us. And the language that we create is the language of I have to. I have to do this. Why everyone is telling me to do it. Everyone's telling you not to do it. And we saw that on day one. The language that I have to do this is a very disempowering language. The language I choose to do this is empowering. When we embrace this philosophy, not only can we make peace with our past by accepting it as a result of my own doing, but actually there's something more exciting, is that we feel empowered in this very moment to create something greater. My present moment is a product of my past. But my present moment is also the seed for my future. If I wish to wallow in my past, living as a victim, I end up losing my present moment. Because my present moment is lost in grief, regret, anger, jealousy. And I continue to repeat the same intention, the same thoughts, the same words, and the same behavior. And as I continue to repeat the same thing, I end up creating the same world. My life doesn't change. Different people come, but they make me feel the same way. I feel the same way that I did 20 years ago. That I don't have control. I don't have choice. But a different person has taken that role. But I feel the same. My experience of life is the same. That's because I have not made a conscious choice to change my own actions. So when we embrace this wisdom of the law of karma, it is the most empowering method of thinking about life. It gives you the power to take responsibility for your past. And when you take responsibility for your past, you are no longer a victim of it. You are not a victim of what has happened. You're a product of that. But at the same time, it gives me power to start thinking, what should I be doing right now? What choices should I be making right now? Should I choose to follow the same patterns, or should I choose something different? Should I choose to wait for everyone else to smile before I smile? Or should I make the choice that I will smile first? Will I wait for everyone else's mood to become bubbly, loving, friendly? Or will I take the initiative to change the mood of this situation? Many of us become very passive. And we say, this person will never let me do this. That person will never agree to this project of mine. Once you start using words like never, you start using this inner dialogue, you have already condemned your own plan. They'll never agree to it. And the reason we like using these words like never and they will never agree to it, it also means I don't need to do anything different today. I'll just keep on doing the same thing. And when I do the same thing, then it will get the same result. I don't need to change. I don't need to take responsibility. This is an easier way to live life. It's an easier way. It's a path of least resistance, but it's also a path of least productivity. You don't get anything out. And you can remain quite miserable for a very long period of time. So, one who starts understanding what is the role of God in my own life. God is not here to curse me, punish me, destroy me. God is just delivering the results of my own action. If I want a different tomorrow, let me change today. And let that change start now. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Tomorrow never comes because tomorrow is a thought that says, not today, not now. That we keep on waiting for the future. And life just passes us by very quickly. This is the role that Ishvara plays in our life. This is the role that God plays in our life. This is the role that Krishna demonstrates in the Mahabharata. This is the role he plays. Okay? So these are the two aspects. Now if you understand this, many of the mysteries behind what Krishna was doing, hopefully they become clarified. Because you understand Krishna now from the standpoint of, one, here to reestablish Dharma. The big picture was always to remove the Asuras and Rakshasas that had incarnated as kings. His purpose was to relieve Mother Earth of this sin. That was his big picture. The other role that he plays, Karma Phala Data. He doesn't go around killing inadvertently or indiscriminately based on women fancy. And when you read the details of the original text, you will see who has done what and where it comes back later on. The other mysteries connected behind Krishna, there also are some other mysteries or misunderstandings behind it. One, Krishna was not involved at the time when Hastinapur was split. Hastinapur and they were given Kandava Prastha. This was Bhishma's decision. It was not Krishna. Some people think Krishna made the decision to split the kingdom in half. It was Bhishma's decision. Krishna was also not present at the time of the dice game. He didn't know about it. It had transpired and taken place. Later on, he chastises Yudhisthira for the dice game. Krishna tries twice to persuade Karna to fight on the side of Pandavas. Twice before the war. One is a very famous conversation that he has. Then he asks Kunti also to come. And then just before the war starts, he has another conversation with Karna and said, now, think about it, change sides. Karna doesn't make the choices. Karna does make his choices. His choices are in that direction. Therefore, he has to reap what he has sown. But he's given opportunities to free himself from his destiny. Krishna does become the chief negotiator for the Pandavas in reclaiming their land. Huh? And he does take a strong stance that that land must be given back. Do not settle for anything less. All peaceful negotiations take place, and then eventually war is declared. And the other incident is very interesting. We will know Krishna, this very famous incident where prior to the war, Duryodhana approaches Gandhari and she asks him to come without any clothes on. And she says she has been blind her whole, like she has deliberately blinded herself to empathize with her husband. Because of such tapas, she has power. And she said, whatever I see in front of me at that time, I will make that person's body indestructible. Like Vajra. And there's a story that prior to going, Krishna then tells, put this dhoti on. Don't go naked in front of your mother. Cover your waist. And because he covers the waist, the thighs don't get this power. This story is not in the original Mahabharat. Because this story makes Krishna look bad again, isn't it? Doing some kapata, deception. That story is not there in the original Mahabharata. I don't know where it has come from. The other famous story that some people may know, some people think that Krishna has taken the punyam from Karna. This story also is not there in Mahabharata. It can be made up by some other poet in their own experience or devotion. But such offering and transaction doesn't take place in the Mahabharata, that Krishna takes away Karna's punyam in order to get his weapons. That doesn't take place. So this is a bit about Krishna, so some clarifications there. The next incident to take up is the dice game. This dice game takes place after the Rajasuya is done. Kingdoms are split. When the kingdoms are split, a special ceremony was told that Yudhisthira should do. It's called Rajasuya. Rajasuya establishes Yudhisthira as a very powerful emperor. He starts bringing all other kingdoms under his kind of purview or control. The purpose of that is that Yudhisthira, being Dharmaraj, that if he becomes the emperor of such a large, mighty kingdom, then actually he will become a noble ruler for all these kingdoms. Even today in philosophy, the greatest form of governance is the noble ruler. Plato has written about this in his book called The Republic, and he gives different forms of governance. And he says the most effective form of governance is Ram Raja, the noble ruler. There are other forms. Democracy comes in at number 4 out of 5. Democracy is considered one of the worst forms of governance. Well, basically, people without vision are given a lot of power to make decisions. So, Rajasuya takes place. During this period, Duryodhana is invited, and he's also part of that whole ceremony. And they give him a job, and in this job, he comes to see the wealth and opulence of the Pandavas. Having seen the wealth and opulence of the Pandavas, he becomes insanely jealous. And his jealousy is the main thrust behind the war. It is Duryodhana's jealousy. And everyone try to reason with him. Even Dhritarashtra said, you have already got so much, leave it, why do you want more? But always he's got his group of chamchas with him. Shakuni, Karna, and these people, and Dushasan, these people are generally not very good influence. So they said, yeah, let's take their wealth. Let's take it. So then this concept of the dice game is then created. Now, while this is taking place on one side, after the Rajasuya, a very important discussion takes place between Vyasa and Yudhisthira. And in this conversation, Yudhisthira asked Vyasa, he said, I did the Rajasuya. Part of the Rajasuya, to widen the expanse of his empire, it does involve military campaign. So some kingdoms are conquered with force, some surrender immediately. He said, what are the ill effects of doing this Rajasuya? And at that time, Vyasa says that there will be 13 years of pain that will come to you. This is now going to be the phala for this karma. 13 years of problems will come. Upatanam trayodasha samarajan upatanam phalam mahata. Upatanam means calamities. 13 years will be there. When Yudhisthira hears this, he panics. Vyasa's statements are quite strong actually. Tvamekam karanam kritva kalena bharatarshava sametam parthivam shatram kshayam yasati bharata. He says, actually, you'll be one of the causes for the destruction of all these Kshatriyas. You plus Duryodhana's sin plus the might of Arjuna and Bhima, you will bring about a massive destruction of Kshatriyas. Don't forget, how is this known? This is known because all these Kshatriyas are incarnations of Asuras. That's why they have to leave. They have to leave because they don't belong to this realm. They are causing problems here, big picture. Vyasa has knowledge of this. So he says 13 years of this will take place. Yudhisthira then, in order to avoid this tragedy, Yudhisthira takes vows. And the vows he says is that I will never speak harsh words to my kith and kin, my brethren. And I will follow whatever I am told to by my elders. He says, I don't want to create any quarrel, because he says quarrel will be the start of war. So on hearing this destiny, he takes these vows in order to avoid this destiny of 13 years of sorrow. This conversation is very important because it will help to explain why Yudhisthira acts the way he does in the dice game. Many of us think Yudhisthira was a hopeless gambling addict. No. Actually, what happened is because of these vows, he didn't want to quarrel with Dhritarashtra. And who's the invitation coming from? It comes from Dhritarashtra, not Duryodhana. The blind king, who is essentially a father figure to him. His caretaker. He is the one who finally gives the invitation. And in order to avoid such quarrel, he accepts. He knows it's not a good idea. Actually, at the time, Vidura is sent as messenger. Come for the dice game. Vidura doesn't agree with it at all. But Dhritarashtra is now emotionally overpowered with his attachment for his son, Duryodhana. Dhritarashtra finally succumbs and says, yes, erect this hall where we will have this dice game. Yudhisthira knows it's not a good idea, but he also is committed to this vow of not quarreling with his family and obeying what they have said. So he comes. He knows Shakuni is playing, and he knows Shakuni will use some deception. And although Shakuni is not called as a cheater, he's called as an illusionist, Mayavi. That means he had a great, what we might call in today's language, poker face. You couldn't read and understand what this man was doing. So it's not said that Shakuni actually cheats them. But it's said that he was a person he had great skill and strategy in dice, far surpassed Yudhisthira, that he knew. But he was more of a Mayavi, a great illusionist. They couldn't quite figure out what was going on with this person. So they are invited, dice game takes place, and Shakuni starts playing on the part of the Kauravas. As they play, then different things are staked. So first he starts staking all his wealth in terms of jewels, in terms of chariots, servants, elephants, horses, and everything he's losing. He is losing everything. Then he starts staking horses, cities, land, earrings, jewelry, the garments that he wears, and the garments of his brothers. He takes them as well. Then he starts taking the brothers himself. Nakula, Sahadev, lost. Now, each time this happens, Shakuni does prompt and says, okay, Nakula, Sahadev I have, but you have two other brothers, you know. There's a little bit more money in your purse, I can see. Huh? Hey, what about Bhima, Arjuna? Okay, Arjuna gone, Bhima gone. Then Yudhisthira stakes himself and he's lost. When Yudhisthira stakes himself and he's lost, Shakuni then says, this was not fair that you lost yourself so early. Huh? You had other wealth that was there. You staked yourself and lost yourself, but other wealth is sitting there. What other wealth? Draupadi is there. You did not stake her. Huh? And at this time, so he suggested, but Yudhisthira agrees. And when he agrees, the entire Sabha assembly cringes in pain of hearing this suggestion. They cringe with hearing this. Huh? Many people will think, what is going on? This is terrible and all that. Huh? But now the momentum of this game is going on unrelenting. Huh? He loses Draupadi. When he loses Draupadi, Vidura argues this is not proper. Vidura's standpoint the whole time is this is not proper. You cannot take her after you have lost yourself. This is not possible. Vidura never changes this standpoint. Yeah? Duryodhana quietens him. Vidura doesn't have, the thing about Vidura is he doesn't have an official position in the Sabha. Because Vidura actually is the son of the maid. He's not the son of the queens. Yeah? Although same father, he's the son of Dasi. So he's Dasi Putra actually. So Vidura, although intimate counselor of Dhritarashtra, he doesn't have an official place in the Sabha. Therefore, it's very easy to disregard him. And you will find that Duryodhana disregards him on many times. Because no official position. Bhishma holds official position. But not Vidura. So all Vidura's protests, they are quietened. Duryodhana said, be quiet. Eventually, Duryodhana tells one of his messengers, go get Draupadi and come back. When they go to get her, she asked the question, how is it possible the king would stake me? What person would do this? And she says, if the king has done this, did he lose himself first or did he lose me? She says, go ask that question and come back. Oh, that messenger goes there. And she has one question that she wants answered. Who was lost first? You stupid fool. Go get her and bring her back. He goes again. Knock, knock. Who's there? Me only. Messenger. Same chap. Do you have a response for my question? No. Then I have another question. You asked the elders in the assembly, is this dharmic or not? Okay. He goes back. Now when he goes back, Duryodhana, he comes back. Where is that lady? I told you to bring this lady. Where is she? Oh, she has another question actually. This is not question and answer time. Ask her to come. So he yells at her. Finally, he said, this chap is usually push him out the way. Dushasana, go get her. Dushasana is the right-hand brother of Duryodhana. He will do anything that that brother says. Oh, and Dushasana also, not a very pleasant chap. He will do whatever means it takes to bring her. He chases her, drags her, and brings her by force, pulling her hair into the Sabha. She's actually in the women's chamber in the back, and she's not even dressed, not that she's indecent, but she's like dressed in a, like a nighty type of apparel. She's not dressed to go meet the entire royal court. Like this, she has dragged into the court. And at that time, she asked the question to the elders, is this dharmic or not? Looking at Bhishma, she asked. And she's being taunted by Karna. and others. They are calling her slave, slave, because now all of them have been won. She looks at Bhishma, and Bhishma thinks about this situation. And he says, this is a situation that is too subtle for me to even figure out. He said, I am stumped. On one hand, a person who has lost themselves has no power to stake something else. But on the other hand, now this is the tradition at that time, he said then, the fate of the wife will be connected to that of the husband. Yeah? I mean, the wife is under the control or command of the husband. That was their tradition. I know nowadays we're a little cringe at this. But here, Aswami ashakyaha panitum paraswam striyascha bhartum vashatam samiksha. One who is aswami, not a lord of themselves. They are no longer the master themselves. They cannot. Ashaktaham panitum. They are not able to stake anything else. But on the other side, striya bhartu vashatam. That the wife will come under connection with husband. That was their law. He was stumped behind these two things. You must understand at this point in time, the situation is very different to a situation in our own life. In this scenario of governance, right, whatever the leaders of the land now pronounce as fit on this decision, this will now become a law of the land. You set what is called precedence. Even today in law, if anyone creates precedence, precedence means the first time you do something. The first time you establish a certain act, it now can be used as evidence for all future cases. And all future cases can just revert back to this precedence and they can win their case. So once he makes this announcement either way, he's changing the law of the land. You must understand that. That Bhishma is now on the verge of changing the law, culture, and tradition of the entire society. That's why this decision is so difficult to take. This is not a private gambling room happening in your backyard. This is now in front of every leader, the king, the king's son. All the prominent leaders of the entire empire are sitting there. And they're waiting on his decision. This decision from his mouth will now change the entire culture of the whole nation. He's essentially creating law. Therefore, he hesitates. Bhishma ends up remaining silent, actually. This silence goes on, and eventually Karna gets very frustrated with this. And Karna says, now, forget this, she's ours. The brothers are told now, you are all our dasas, servants. You have lost your freedom. And they are told, remove their apparel, because part of the bet was their garments and earrings and jewelry was given. So at that time he says, take the brothers' garments off and take also Draupadi's garments off. And he said, Dushasana, do that. And that is when Dushasana starts disrobing Draupadi. Draupadi then prays to Bhagavan, and Sri Krishna manifests in the form of this endless garment that keeps on going. That I'll take up more tomorrow. Because of this disgraceful incident that took place, everyone is cringing seeing this take place. This woman is now being harassed and tormented in the middle of the royal court. Dhritarashtra steps in and says, enough, stop. And he makes the entire game null and void. The whole thing is called off. He cancels the whole thing. Now at this point in time, if you understand, actually the Kauravas have now got the Pandavas as their eternal slaves. That's what they had. They had won them as slaves, not for a period of time, forever. That means their kingdom was there. Everything was done. If this deal was closed, everything was done. They had their whole kingdom. It was over. Dhritarashtra cancels the entire thing. And says, nothing doing. And he says, Draupadi, come here. Huh? And he says, for the grave insult that is being given to you, what do you want? I grant you a boon. Anything. And what he wants is for her to take back her own freedom. But she doesn't take that. She says, give Yudhisthira his freedom. Then Dhritarashtra is not satisfied. He says, I grant you another boon. Something for yourself. Free the other brothers. Give them back their weapons and chariots. And he said, but I want you to have another boon I grant. And she says, no, I will not take a third. He then makes the whole thing null and void. It is null and void. Now, because of this, Duryodhana had the Pandavas exactly where he wanted them. He had the whole kingdom. He had them as servants. He had their entire wealth. He had everything. Now he sees the father cancel the entire agreement. He's incensed. Karna, Duryodhana, Dushasana, and Shakuni, they get together. And absolutely irate and angered by what has just happened, that what was rightfully theirs has been now returned by the father. They again harass that father and say, ask for another game. Invite them again. They're so angry with what's taken place. The father again caves under the pressure of the son. They're again invited back. And this is where you wonder, why did they agree to it? Yudhisthira again agrees. But why does he agree? Because of his vow. That whatever the elders have asked me to do, if invited, I will attend. And if challenged, I will meet that challenge. So again they end up, and here they say, now the actual wager will be 13 years of exile. 12 years in exile, and the 13th year must be in disguise, incognito, which means no one should recognize you. And if you are recognized anywhere, another 12 years you'll have to do. So potential 25 years. Duryodhana is happy with this because he knows that in this period of time, he can now start making allies with all the other powerful kingdoms. Pandavas will be incognito and in Vanavas. Well, how will they be able to build or do anything? Their kingdom will fall, and he will now be in a position of great strength where he can eventually just demolish them. So he agrees to this. Dhritarashtra also agrees because of the pressure. Game goes on, and again Shakuni wins. Pandavas are now sent into exile. Okay. So one, we have to understand that Yudhisthira, although he was, they says, he was fond of gambling, it was not because of his addiction to gambling. The conversation prior to the dice game is very influential in how he thinks. That he had taken a vow to obey his elders. He had taken a vow to actually be peaceful and never create quarrel. The interesting thing to note here is that Yudhishthira's vows are actually vows or strategies to avoid what is coming to him. He's trying to avoid his own karma phal. And that's why it doesn't work out. That actual acceptance of the dice game becomes the catalyst for the war. Those 13 years he has to go through. He has to suffer. And eventually those 13 years become the catalyst for the war and death and destruction of the Kshatriyas. That 13 years of pain was already predicted. This is your phala. Who has given it? Vyasa has given it. Vyasa is also Trikalagnya. He can also see past, present, and future. He is Narayana himself only as well. So when Vyasa has predicted his outcome, then when he tries to put this vow is a strategy to avoid what is to come to him. We also do this. In our thinking, much of our thinking is in how to avoid pain, how to avoid problems, how to avoid what is coming to us. We start creating various strategies, thinking, devices, ploys, plans on how I can avoid a situation. Not have to talk to this person, not raise this issue. Just let it go, and eventually will hopefully just dissipate into thin air. But if we have created a karma, that phala is going to come. And rather than thinking how to avoid something, our thinking should be, how do we prepare ourselves to face it? This type of thinking is very different. We spend as much energy in both, actually. We figure out very elaborate ways on how to not answer this phone call. And we think of all the excuses we can send to that person, when they have called us. And we create a roller deck of excuses. This one, this time, and then to make sure, don't use the same excuse all the time to the same person. Then they'll start figuring out, hey, you keep saying the same thing all the time. Your child can't be going to hospital every day when I called you. How is this possible? So that one you have to use at one point in time, another one you have to use at another point in time. We spend a lot of time doing this. On how to avoid difficult situations, how to avoid having that conversation which is going to hurt, which is going to leave me vulnerable, which is going to potentially leave me rejected, which may mean I may not get what I want. And instead of employing our energies into avoiding life, if we employ our energies into learning how to face life, how to deal with life, actually our life becomes so much more fulfilling. Our life becomes fulfilling. We become more empowered. And the whole journey of life becomes much more exciting. You start thinking creatively. You start becoming innovative. You start seeing options which you had already ruled out. Because in your mind you had ruled them out. This person will never agree. You've ruled out the option of actually getting their support and pursuing your endeavor. So in our life, if I want something and I feel this person's not going to agree, I only have one, I listen to them and don't pursue my endeavor. Or two, I pursue my endeavor and break my relationship with that person. These are the only two options we can see. This is called win-loss thinking. Somebody in the deal has to win and somebody in the deal will have to lose. There's another option. The other option is the win-win situation. That you get their support and you also pursue your goal. This is possible, but you can't have the thinking that you're trying to avoid them. Avoid the conversation, avoid the conflict, avoid the pain, avoid the awkwardness. You can't have that thinking. You have to have a much more proactive thinking of how am I going to win this person over? How can I convince this person? How can I bring them along with me on my journey rather than fragment and create my own journey while they go on their own way? This is how we need to start facing life. There are going to be certain phalas we have to face, and that's perfectly okay. Not all of them are wonderful. But if we start thinking how to face them, we won't be scared of them. And we don't keep pushing and pushing and delaying and delaying and delaying while it still sits in our mind like a splinter. You know, if you borrow money from a person and then you say, I'll pay it back, and you keep forgetting to pay it back, you know, every time you look at that person, you know, when you meet them, you're always thinking, $200. $200. You start thinking when you see them, they're looking at you, $200. $200. Your whole relationship is now reduced to $200. Now, for some people, that might be a big relationship. But $200. And that's all we see in that relationship. All of a sudden, the depth, the beauty, what more you can get out of it is lost. It's completely lost. Yeah? Because we're living in this win-loss thinking. Start thinking how you can face whatever challenges that there are in your life. And all of a sudden, different opportunities and options start opening up to you in life. Life becomes very exciting because all of a sudden there are more things that you are capable of doing. This is how we can start seeing some of these elements. Tomorrow, we'll continue on, see more, and we'll see the story of Draupadi. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.